first ever 2 mic minimum
CarCast.
We
are coming to you live from Sullivan Street in Greenwich Village in my car because it's hard to find a quiet place to record that is convenient for everybody that's involved with this podcast.
Yeah, it's funny because we were originally supposed to record in like a podcast studio, but then scheduling, as always, fucked us over.
It's the hardest part of this whole thing is just arranging people's time and efforts and everything.
Usually we arrange people's times and we arrange them so beautifully, then one person topples over this beautiful schedule I make, and I'm like, well, here we go.
As usual,
it was actually two instances.
It was you. Little my fault.
Yeah, it was you.
Well, not my fault. I did the right thing.
Right? No. You went to.
There was family stuff with me, and other than that, then just some scheduling stuff. So
right. So that's why we're here for you live from this CarCast. People are passing us by on the streets and the bicycle. New York City is bustling.
Yeah, it's
for the
hustling
holidays.
and bustling. We're close to Christmas now. Everyone is feeling that holiday joy and cheer.
Some people.
Some people are.
I was getting my Christmas tree today, and my God, it made me hate capitalism so much, just waiting in that long line of cars to get to one store and then having to go through mobs of people just to get a tree in the back. I'm like, oh, yes, cool. The Christmas spirits. I'm feeling it very warmly now.
But it's all worth it to see that beautiful smile on everyone's face on Christmas Day.
Yeah, no one in my household is below the age of 12.
Well,
so it's like we're all jaded and shit. No one cares in my family. But we don't
need to lament about our issues any longer. At the top of this because we have a great guest today, Peter.
Yes, we do have we finally have a guest again.
It's only been 2 or 3 episodes.
Yeah, no, it's fine. We have a new guest. We're very happy to have him. He is the host of the podcast 90 Day Fiance. I Won My Podcast. He also performs all over New York City. Miguel Muciño, thank you so much for being on.
Welcome to the pod.
Thank you. Welcome to the CarCast.
Thank you, guys.
We're like, we both turned to look at him in the back seat.
I know.
I don't have podcasts in my car now. There's no great way to look at everybody. Like,
I know. You guys turn around at the same time, and for a second I thought like I did something wrong. I was like, oh, what did I?
You're in trouble, mister.
I thought so.
Yeah, you probably thought to yourself, oh, wait, this is why I'm afraid of white people.
I'm like, this is sad.
You're like, hey, can you meet us here and then come into my car real quick?
I thought, honestly, I'm just glad I sat in the back because I watched too many like mobster movies where I'm like, don't sit in the passenger seat. When somebody sits behind you.
Peter will pull out the gun and shoot you. Is how that would end normally.
Yeah. I did realize like this is how all racist kidnappings start.
This was honestly the setup. This was the opening of Get Out. Like that is 100% what just happened.
Yeah, I've been privileged to like travel all over the country and mainly the South to do comedy. And I've been to like a bunch of bars after shows in the South, and the scariest thing to hear is a white guy going, "Woo-hoo!"
Oh my God!
All right. That means I gotta go.
It does sound like a race riot's about to happen.
It means
He's
that
like,
this gentleman is going to his car and bringing out some sort of weapon.
Yeah.
The mystery is what the weapon will be.
It sounds like he organized like all the white people are gonna purge tonight. Kind of thing. Like,
little doggies.
Yeah. As soon as I hear something like that, I'm like, check please. I gotta go. Got to go.
Yeah, that is a scary white sound that I never thought about. But when you contextualize it for me, it was like, it makes me immediately uncomfortable. Like, this guy's not up to any good.
But I gotta say thank you for having me on. I know it was a little late, and we were supposed to do it at my house.
But, it's all good. It's all good.
I got a hosting gig.
You got a hosting gig at the Lantern.
You guys were very kind to accommodate.
We accommodate
this crazy schedule.
We are willing to accommodate for pretty much anything.
Yeah,
we're so flexible.
We do whatever we have to, really.
Yeah, that's what it's like. We're like the U.S. Post Office. Through
rain, sleet, or snow. We deliver.
No matter what.
We deliver in Sean Barry's car.
In our pocket. Listen, we've yet to miss an episode.
That is true. No, we're on such a good streak, and we're really
perfect.
We're really proud about that.
Keep it up, guys.
We're really proud about that. But
there's no way we make it a year, but other than that,
no, we're gonna be fine. We're
at the halfway point.
Just pretend this is like alcoholism. Just take it one day at a time.
But like at least alcoholism, there's some joy.
No, it's like I do believe we're on the upper echelon of podcasts around this area. I really do. You know.
Yeah,
I do at least.
Of the Westchester, Rockland, Dutchess County podcasts, we're definitely in the top 10.
No, even in the New York scene, I'm confident enough.
New York
we
scene.
traveled for this podcast. We kind of have a theme going.
We
that's
are.
different
I was
from the
gonna
rest.
say
I
it's
like
very
this.
much like comedy, where you have to find your own voice, and it sounds like you guys are on your way to finding your own voice because you have your own idea of a podcast, like you said.
Yeah,
So
we have
that's,
something going
That's
on.
really cool.
Yeah, basically, you know, we want to, if you're just joining us for the first time, what we like to do on Two Mic Minimum is like, we kind of like to talk about like really funny stories in niche areas of comedy. We also like to interview comedians who either perform in very niche areas in the country or niche areas in New York City.
Basically, we find transplants who've come to New York from throughout the country and the world, and we talk to them about their comedy experiences and what their likes and dislikes, and we find the similarities and differences. And you know, I find we can bring it all. I think we can bring each other together, man. That's
might not be the best podcast in New York, but it's the wokest.
We are the Westchester woke boys.
But
Westchester woke.
We're the
boys.
Westchester woke
I love
boys.
that.
That was our original moniker at the beginning of our show.
Yeah, someone who Dave Namery, enemy of this podcast. Don't ever see him perform live at all.
Never.
Don't ever go to any of his shows. He accused us of being woke boys. Coined us the Westchester woke boys, which used to be my Instagram handle for the longest time, just because I thought it was so funny.
I was gonna say if this was like 2000s, like early 2000s, that would be my screen name.
It's a funny name.
I do like it, Westchester woke boy, but I changed it eventually. But the reason why we have Miguel, the reason why we had him on the podcast is because you might have listened to Marcavelli's episode. Marcavelli, great photographer, great comedian,
guest, great, very fun podcast.
By the way, I'm just going to shout out, follow him, Marcavelli with 2 L's and an I, 45 on Instagram, because he's doing photo shoots again for comedians and actors. If you guys want your headshots. Oh, actually, I have a funny story about that. So Aaron wants to get a friend of ours wants to get a headshot from him. So I told him his Instagram. But the thing is, he spells it. Actually, no. So he spells it with 2 I's.
Yes.
Sorry, he spells it with 2 I's. But it's so common for people to put in 2 L's. So Aaron put in Marcavelli 45 with 2 L's. It led to this Instagram page that has no followers. All there are 2 pictures. It has 2 pictures of just Percocets and drugs.
That's awesome.
Trying to get pills and a phone number.
And drugs.
Should we call the phone number on the pod?
It's literally, I'm down.
I mean, if you go to his house, he's probably got him too.
Oh, definitely.
Oh, definitely. I mean,
he's stacked,
this is totally illegal.
Pills
but
business for any info contact 971-564-543801.
I mean, in no fairness, that is Marco's number, so I'm just kidding.
Listen, photography business is not booming.
is
so.
that his Finsta account?
Yeah, that's his
Finsta is selling Percocets.
Didn't change anything.
Yeah, but the reason why we wanted to have Miguel on is because Miguel, you are very active in the Spanish-speaking scene in New York City, which is I think is a very interesting thing to talk about. You've also performed in Mexico. Too. But before we get into that, I think the first thing we always want to ask your guests is what made you get into comedy in the first place?
There's okay, that's a good question, and I always blame this one girl. Her name is Cecilia Vidales. And
Cecilia, you're breaking my heart. We can't sing anymore. We're gonna get sued.
Okay,
we're gonna get a DMCA claim.
So Cecilia Vidales, I met her in first grade and kindergarten, and we were in the same class all through kindergarten and middle school. So we were in the same class, in the same classroom for 9 years until 6th grade. And in 2nd grade, I remember I made her laugh or something like that, and she said, "You should be a comedian." And that kind of just stuck with me, right? Fast forward to a couple years later, well, not a couple years later, but to my 20s, mid-20s, I was going through I went through a bad breakup, really bad breakup, like everybody else, and even that girl told me, you should try stand-up comedy. So one day on my birthday, I decided that I was going to try out stand-up comedy. So I did. I went over there. I got shit-faced because obviously we're all hilarious when we're drunk.
Oh,
make
obviously.
You so much better.
And
always start comedy drunk.
Of course. So I was supposed to do 5 minutes, and I did 3 minutes. And I was just sweating in there. I was just what am I going to do? I don't have any more material. I have nothing. And then I got off and I was like, this is amazing. And I can't wait to do it next week. So I did.
There's always a thrill, even if you bomb horribly, because it's just I think the thrill comes from wow, people are paying attention to what I have to say on stage.
Well, there was nobody there. The bartender was yeah, what? Because the place that I started out was called SOTP.
SOTP.
Speed of Thought Players. It was like an improv / comedy club or whatever.
Where is this?
Is in North Attleboro, Massachusetts. So they had a huge stop sign, but instead of saying stop, obviously it said SOTP. So one of my jokes that I started with. I was like, well, look at the sign. It says SOTP. And
hey, you know me.
And I thought, yeah, I should have said that. That would have been funnier. I was like, I'm dyslexic, so I thought it said stop.
That's funny.
And the bartender's just like, all right.
All right, it was a joke.
Even the host went outside to smoke a cigarette. I'm just performing from like the bartender, another comedian who's looking at his notes, and just chairs.
The amount of bartenders who have heard so many comics bomb in the world, who are just who are there because they have to be there and just like clean the dish while they're hearing the dick joke in the background.
Yeah, you gotta tip them more, man.
Yeah, they're like, yeah.
Tip your bartenders more at your mic.
Listen,
I was
love
just
my
thinking
bartenders.
about that. Like all the waitresses that brings you the drinks, like those are the people that you really want to impress when you're telling jokes.
I agree
Because
completely.
They've heard so much comedy.
I agree completely.
that they actually have an ear for it
There's
without
nothing,
knowing it.
There's nothing more satisfying than like making people who work at the venue
Like
laugh.
our waitress, we were just at the Lantern. She just did not care for us.
No.
We just looked. She looked like one of the guys. Like, no, not these guys. Nope, not today. she was just like, you're gonna get food and you're gonna get out of here. That she clearly had that attitude. And I'm like, that's fair. If you work here, if you work at a comedy club every single day, you're like, fuck this.
Yeah,
Every day.
yeah,
And there's some people like, oh, that's the first time I heard that. It's not.
yeah.
And then if God forbid she walks in while a comic's on stage, and the guy's like, yeah, check out the hottie. I've heard that before. And it's
Fuck
like,
that.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like,
Nothing is worse though than like bombing, like when like the cute waitress or bartender is like working, because for some reason you feel
Because
more like a failure.
that
than
alpha
the person.
male in you comes
Yeah.
out.
You're
and
like,
it just comes out to
You're
get
like,
hurt.
at least this person's making money. I'm not making money, and I'm just sucking.
And they look at you and they're like, I made $5.
Yeah.
yeah.
But still way more money than we would make.
We make zero, they make.
I do think
You make
some of
$5, I
my-
made a drink ticket.
I do think some of my fondest memories is like knowing that the guy at the back of the bar is laughing and knowing that he's listening to me. I think that is cool.
One time, this is at Antane's in downtown Boston. A drunk guy that was like clearly a union worker with a thick Boston accent called my friend the N-word. He is black, but he's black from Cambridge. So he's not that tough. So he just went along with it. He's like, yeah, sir. Yeah, so you think that? No, that's cool, man. Yeah, that's cool. I was like, Trent, if you don't fuck this guy
Yeah,
out.
you have to beat the shit out of him. Like, that's.
Like, I'm not going to because I'm a pussy, but like, if you don't do it.
You gotta fuck these Saudis up.
There's literally, oh, you
was-
Americans are so silly.
It was just.
my. That's not proper
it
at all.
was, oh, it was so funny. But yeah, just one of those shows, that happens in Boston. But anyways, I'll reel it back in. I know you guys want to talk about the Spanish
No,
scene.
Well, yeah,
let's
I
keep this.
mean-
I like to keep this loose. We're professionals. We're gonna get
Okay.
to it without
Well,
any,
yeah, I
any
mean,
direct
like
segues.
if that's the end of your time, your beginnings, your origin story.
I mean, yeah, no, it was
Yeah.
very simple. Like I said,
Right,
it was
right.
just like I was going through something like really rough, but I remember like her saying like, "Oh, you should try stand-up comedy," and then I had like that voice from that little girl in second grade saying, "You're really funny. You should be a comedian." And like those two voices just kind of like pushed me to just really get up there. And like I said, it was my birthday, and I was like, I'm gonna give myself this as a present. Like this is my present to myself: misery and anxiety.
It's gonna be
and alcoholism and drug addict.
It's going to
and
be an
drug
antidepressant
addiction.
for everyone else.
Yeah.
No one's going to want to listen to me.
So this is my present to me, to annoy the world.
A lot of people do stand up for the first time on their birthdays or New Year's. Those are the people like, I gotta do it. You know?
Yeah.
I saw in Dave Namery's story that there was like some guy who performed at Levity because he lost his fantasy league.
Yes, I was there for that too. That was terrible.
I'm personally against that.
I've seen those a million times.
I'm personally against that just because I feel like people who do that, like they kind of like contribute to this idea that stand up is like a lesser art form. Like it contributes to this idea of just be like, oh, well, let's have the guy
Because stand up comedy is the only thing where you don't need to like learn anything for the most part. Like it's like Like, you don't have to like.
We don't have to learn like an instrument.
No one's ever to lose their fantasy thing and like, all right, you need to learn how to do Beethoven's Fourth. Like,
yeah, like you need to do poetry, or you need to like play the guitar at an open mic. He's always like, go up and like make a fool of yourself like every other comedian.
I mean, they're not
but
wrong.
Like the funny thing is that they'll go on their live to say, "Oh yeah, I'm a comedian."
Yeah, I know.
You're like, no.
You got my favorite.
But here's the thing, though. Like the next time I see that happen, like I'm going to pray that guy crushes it on stage. I'm going to pray that guy crushes it and just actually becomes more successful than his friends.
I've seen it happen.
They made him like he has this gigantic
Because
career.
it's supposed to be a joke on him for the guys in the audience, but I want them to be embarrassed. I want it to backfire on them for them trying to
I've
like fucking
seen something
cheapen
like
the art
that
form.
happen. Like the person didn't become successful, but they definitely had the best set of the night.
Yeah.
And you just go outside and just like start chain smoking, and then come back and just start fucking chain drinking.
It's
I
that
guess.
thing of like when they bring all the people and they're only there for them. You know.
Hey, I was talking to Steven the other day. Like, oh fuck yeah, I know Steven.
Steven's hilarious.
Yo, Steve's a douche, dude. Yeah.
and like I'll be in the back like, that's not even a punchline.
Yeah, it's not even
like
funny.
I'm angry
There's no
because I'm
joke
like,
there.
This guy's a riot.
Yeah, oh, it's so
says his
dumb.
mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should do is next year we should form an all stand up comic fantasy football league, and whoever loses it has to go to med school and get and become a doctor. That's what it should be.
That's your punishment.
That's
a
your
career.
punishment. You have to go. You have to get a real job.
But every time you take a test, like all the comics are going to be in the
they'll
room
be in
with
the
you
room
and
and be like,
heckling you.
No, you know
this
it'd be
guy thinks his
hilarious.
ligaments are bones. That's all I know.
You know it'd be hilarious if like any of us like as comedians like win a fantasy league and be like, ugh, sorry, I had to win it because like I bombed so hard out of like my 3 friends and like I had to win a fantasy league. Like, that's my punishment.
That's 100%.
To win a fantasy league,
win
you
it.
fucking losers.
I don't,
Yeah.
is anyone okay? Here's the thing about fantasy for me: is anyone doing well in their league?
Somebody must be.
I never exactly.
I never hang out with.
hear-
Yeah, no, you're right.
I've never met someone who's like, yeah,
exactly. It's always
yeah.
people being like, "Man, I'm getting crushed." I only hear people talking
freaking
about getting
Mahomes. Yeah.
people getting crushed. I never hear someone who's just like, "Yeah, I'm in a very comfortable place with my fantasy league." It's always just like, "Nah, I'm getting killed, man."
Yeah.
My friend's in the semifinals, but he's like, it's not looking good. I'm like,
No, I don't think it.
People take it so seriously.
Yeah. I just like I think the people who are doing well in their fantasy leagues are myths. I don't think they exist. I think just
I won it
everyone's
one
doing
time.
Really? Yeah.
I won. Yeah, I beat my friend Steve.
nice.
Yeah, and he's like, you don't even know anything about football. I'm like, no, but I get fucked up. That's why I made it here so many times. Like,
Yeah.
I'll hang out at the bar with you from like 12 till 8, but
Right.
you know.
Yeah, but so anyway, yeah, I guess we can get into the meat,
Sure, yeah,
the
yeah.
meat
We can get into the
meat of the podcast. Why you
Sure.
listeners tuned
Yes.
in?
Sure.
So yeah, so you moved to New York when again?
It's
July.
July. So you're relatively new, roughly
Okay.
6 months.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
and then from there, you've been performing in English. You've been performing in Spanish. So
Yeah.
give us like we'd like a rundown of like kind of like the scene in New York now. That's where the shows are only being done in Spanish.
I believe the main show right now is at Los Feliz.
The
It's,
El Barrio show,
Yeah,
right?
it's a really, really nice show. They pack it up really nice, and it's really cool because you get to see people from literally all over the world. Well, mainly the Spanish-speaking world.
Yeah.
You know, so like mainly all Latin America. There's a couple people that came from Spain before, and it's a really nice supportive scene too, and I believe that it just started last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're catching in the very, very beginning of it.
That's kind of cool to begin to be kind of get on the ground floor and establish yourself
Yeah.
there, because obviously you can kind of make a name for yourself, because I know. Oh fuck! I was on a show with this guy, but he was on HBO Latino, and he got like a whole special out of it too. I mean,
Yeah.
he's doing it in Spanish. I can't think of his name. It's gonna drive me
Alex,
nuts. Yes, thank you, Alex. I can picture him. He's-
Carvano,
Alex
something like that.
Fuck.
I don't know him personally. I
Yeah.
met him. I saw him walk by me once.
Yeah.
I know he is one of the co-owners of the V Spot, which is also one of the great places where you can go practice Spanish, comedy in Spanish.
The V spot.
The V Spot, yeah, it's a vegan restaurant.
Yes, Alex.
Okay.
Alex Carabano.
Yes, Alex Carvano.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
That's
It says
him.
it's a vegan restaurant. I did a show with him. Very funny guy.
St.
But I was
Mark's
like-
Comedy Club. It's a really, really nice place. It's just like perfect for
And that's
comedy.
a show at V Spot?
Well, it's an open mic. That's what we go practice.
It's an open mic, yeah.
Like, so it's a Spanish only open mic.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So it's,
cool,
it's
cool,
our
cool.
workout
Yeah.
room, you know?
All right, yeah, that makes. I mean, yeah, you kind of want that. You need like a place to workshop the room, your material for a show.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I mean, yeah, when you
Well,
deal with
the thing is, like, I didn't do it in Spanish before. Like, I did it once a year for a week, so it was like it wasn't like anything that I wanted to work like on. You know what I mean? So once I moved here, I was like, oh, there's actually shows for it, and there's actually a mic where I can work out. So this is perfect. But before it was just kind of like I did it. I'm doing it, But like now it's like, oh, now I kind of have to do it because there's actually like a goal to be on the shows to get your face out there. So I'm doing it more often. That's what I'm trying to say.
I was gonna say, when you're doing that, is it your same material and you're just translating into Spanish, or now that you can just speak Spanish, is it just you change up for that material, or
that's a really good question?
Thank you. I'm glad I asked it.
Yeah, I know what I'm doing, motherfucker.
Yeah.
What a handsome
pro.
question by me. This show's mainly just me complimenting myself.
That's all right. No, it is. Some of them I do translate. Some of them I have to make it up as I go, or sometimes I just like I have to work on it because when you translate, it's not exactly. It doesn't have the same rhythm. It doesn't have the same effect when you hit a punchline. So it has to be different every time. And here's the thing, like I saw this in Mexico. And Mexico is comedy right now in Mexico is like comedy in Boston in the 80s, where there's just like fucking killers walking around. Every show you go to is just like laugh, 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 laugh. And literally everything they said is just a laugh. They had me rolling because they're so good. And the scene is just getting better and better and better. And that was like a couple years ago. Now the scene is just progressively getting better. And I'm hoping that happens here in New York, especially here.
Yeah.
Like it has to happen here too.
Right. And so are there only, and to your knowledge, are there only 2 rooms to do comedy in Spanish, like V Spot and Los Feliz?
I believe so as of right now.
Okay,
but like I said,
consistently,
yes,
yeah. Because I think Andrew Schultz did a set in Spanish.
I believe so as well.
Venue.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He has it on his YouTube. I don't know where that was, but it might. I don't think it might.
I think it was in like Southwest America somewhere, though, if I remember correctly.
Oh, okay.
I tried
I think
to
it was
start.
right.
I think it was in L.A. He did.
Oh,
maybe.
okay, never mind.
That's
That's
probably
someone
easier.
is like
I
not
thought
New
it was
York.
in New York because like he always does.
Well, he's a New York guy.
Yeah, he's a New York guy.
I know LA
yeah.
has a lot of has a very large Spanish.
Yeah,
I mean,
it would probably
population.
it's probably much bigger in LA just because of the Hispanic
Yeah.
population.
population,
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of
That
comics
makes
from
sense.
Mexico City that used to travel to LA, and then they would try to go to come here, but they're like, well, there's no rooms for us to work, so they'll have to do it in English, but like it's not as effective as in Spanish because when you're in your own language, it's almost like you're in the ocean, and you're like, how you move slower.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
like
like,
that's
you
what it
can
feels
move,
like
but
when
you-
you're doing comedy in like a second language,
Mm-hmm.
and then you come out to like the surface and you go into the land, and you can move faster and like run, and like that's how it feels when you're doing it in your native language.
Yes.
So
So Spanish is your original language.
yes,
Okay. I was just checking on that.
you're like
I was like,
yeah.
I don't think we have. I don't know. My brain's dumb. I'm like, yeah. I was like, who knows? I don't know. But some people speak
Yeah, we
more
don't know.
fluently.
We don't know. We just met this person today.
We did. We
Yeah.
literally met
Literally
20 minutes
just
ago. And I'm
met.
like,
That is true.
and here's a fun fact. 90% of the time you're talking to somebody on Instagram, it's Peter. Like,
Oh,
Peter
yeah,
just tells
it's
me where
always-
to show up and when, and then I'm like,
It's
find out how
always-
this goes. I come in very cold, and then I warm
I am the
place up.
host and like the secretary of this podcast. I'm like
Like,
I'm literally trying to like put in like cover letters or job applications now, being like, I do so much fucking scheduling for this podcast. I know what I'm doing.
but you know,
I
like,
get pinned in a fucking appointment.
he's like the scheduler. I'm the heavy lifter.
Yeah, and also our schedule. As you know, our schedule changes all the time because like one guest will be like, sorry, and then
Sorry,
it's
yeah.
like, all right, now
Or
we got to
people will be
rearrange.
like, we want to get on the
people.
podcast, and then like you met them like, hey, when are you free? And you don't hear back from them for a week and a half. that happens
Jesus,
sometimes
no.
too. But
Yeah, this car cast is very hard.
yeah. We might as well just make every podcast a fucking car cast. It'd be easier
should.
that way.
It'll
It's
probably
not
be
the worst
easier.
idea.
It's a little uncomfortable.
It's an idea.
But it's not.
It's a tiny bit uncomfortable.
It's not.
We should all
it's
sit
better
next
than
time.
being
Let's
in a bar.
all sit in the back and just squeeze against each other.
Just fucking. So how's everybody doing?
Yeah.
No,
A little
I
tight.
like the idea. Like when we have Marcus on, who's going to be next. I want to do the same thing where we just turn.
We'll turn this
him.
in. We'll face dead forward the whole time, and then
also
just,
not a white guy,
Yeah.
so he's going to be like, "What the fuck?"
yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'm fucking dying tonight.
Yeah. So okay. So yeah, there's the V spot, which is the mic,
And Los
there's
Feliz.
and yeah, no, I definitely got that sense when we talked to Marcavelli. Like Marcavelli always talked about, like in English, it's like you have to do that translation in your head sometimes.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like, I think like I love stand up the most when I can tell it's really coming from the heart. It's like coming from like the emotion is like connected to the words, and I feel like when you do it in another language, it's hard to you kind of have to do an extra layer of connecting.
Yeah.
Almost, which would make it hard.
If I'm literally, if I got like, so whatever scenario, I get booked to do a Spanish show.
Yeah.
It's gonna be me for about a month straight, translating all my jokes into Spanish and then just trying to memorize it, being like, "Yo es grande." And,
That was funny though.
yeah.
If I had the willpower, I would love to do a Spanish show, but I'd have to learn
I
more
fit-
Spanish than I know
I'm
now.
not- I guess I failed Spanish twice in high
Yeah.
school. I did. I'm not
I passed it with a C-.
C minus, and that's your native language.
Yeah.
See, that
That's
makes
not
me,
uncommon,
that makes me
though.
feel better.
I knew people in my high school when I took Spanish, like people who like knew it as a language, they didn't give a shit at all.
Yeah, it was mainly just like
'Cause
it's like, oh, I'm sleeping.
yeah,
yeah,
it's like, I
yeah,
don't
you
know.
just chill out. You're like, "Ah, fuck, doing these packets.
Yeah. You're like,
Problem
I'm
is,
not
my high school
doing
Spanish
this.
teacher was so goddamn hot. Like, she was like
Yeah,
just the hottest woman.
yeah.
She was 24 and I was 15, and she was just like,
She ruined you, Sean.
she did.
ruined
Like,
you.
I wish I took a picture of her to explain to people how. There's no way any heterosexual young boy could pay attention in that class.
Mhm.
You just couldn't. Like, I was watching her the whole time, but I wasn't listening.
You should have been like, how do you say ass? I mean,
It's like the most
sass.
man problem ever. Like my teacher was so hot, I couldn't pay attention with this giant boner in my face.
But
all the
it
time.
is though. Man. You're hard. Have you ever been hard for 40 minutes straight?
A church, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. You're like, I can't take care of it,
No.
and it won't go away.
Go to the bathroom and just
And rub one out.
yeah.
That's called assault, brother.
I mean, no,
That's
I don't
assault.
think it is.
You're not allowed to jerk off in school.
No, you're not. But I don't know why I'm trying
You're
to
also
give.
not allowed
I
to
don't know why I'm
smoke
trying to
crack,
give your
but people
past
do
high
it.
school self advice on how to do better in Spanish.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, so how many shows have you done in Spanish so far now that you've been here?
3, I believe 3. Yeah, because they're monthly. So I didn't really know about them because I wasn't like exploring as much. I was just trying to get into like, the clubs here. And then I found out that they do it in Spanish because somebody told me, it's like, yo, do you speak Spanish, right? I'm like, yeah. It's like, oh, there's this open mic in Spanish on Sundays. You should check it out. So I did. And the first time I did, it didn't happen. Then I came back the following week because I hate myself. Why not put myself through that
that's
again?
the universal language is hatred of yourself.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, why not do it again? So I did it again, and it happened, and it was really good. It felt like I was in. It was on my first year of comedy again because I was just like,
Right.
well, the other day I was walking on.
Yeah.
It just went back to that. So the more I did it, the more comfortable I got. The more I was able to talk again. Because again, I don't use my Spanish a lot. I mean, I didn't when I was in Boston.
Yeah.
Until like I got here. Now every time I'm here, I'm like, excuse me, can I get some chicken? They're like, ¿Qué quieres? Ahorita te doy lo. I'm like, whoa, shit, you speak Spanish? They're like, yeah. I'm like, all right, cool. But like, I'm that's new to me because
Yeah.
over there we don't have that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I've been using Spanish a lot more often, and I'm getting a lot more. I wouldn't say comfortable, but like I'm using it more often, so it's starting to become second nature again.
Yes. So,
Again,
Okay. So would you say you're more comfortable performing in English or Spanish as of now?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I would say English.
Okay.
Right now,
Right. I guess that
But-
would make sense.
but it's easier if I get stuck somewhere in English. I have to like think. If I get stuck in Spanish, I
Right.
just go.
Right. Yeah. Because you can just
So-
like.
Because I can
figure-
just say something and they'll be like, oh, it's cool, it's whatever. Like they'll get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Compared to like if I say something in English, they're like, did he pronounce that right? is he? What is he doing? What is?
Yeah.
So yeah, but I'm definitely a little more comfortable doing it in English right now.
Would you find that when you're doing it, like you prefer like just like for like cultural references to your jokes, you prefer having that Spanish time more? Does it help like identify more with yourself, like projecting yourself out to people by doing it in Spanish, or yeah, was it just the same in English?
It's a little bit different in Spanish because in Spanish I can think about like let's just say like I have a memory when I was a little kid. I can bring it back in like Spanish like instantly.
Yeah.
Compared to like English, I can bring it back, but then I have to throw it into the translator in my head and translate and see like what words I can find so people can understand what I'm trying to
and get what you're talking
say,
about. Yeah.
So
yeah, because wording, in my opinion, is so important in comedy, and
absolutely, yeah,
you can really make or break a joke. It's interesting that you said like English as of now, but I guess it would make sense because like in Spanish, you know all the rhythms of that language so well, and like I personally like I really like comedians who use language really well. Like if a comedian makes like a very smart philosophical point with like very nuanced words, I'm like, that's good. That's a good line. So what's like a joke in Spanish that you can't do in English?
There's one joke that I have about this talk show host, but she's from Peru.
Okay.
And
yeah,
but you see right away I have to like explain.
You're explaining the.
But if I was to do it in Spanish, I'd be like, I was watching Loud in America the other day, and people be like, I get it.
Yeah, makes sense. White people don't believe in Peru, so they wouldn't.
I think they believe in Peru.
I think they believe in Peru. They believe in like Machu Picchu.
Their entire concept of Peru is that there's a place called Peru.
I want to start a yoga class at Machu Picchu and charge like $10,000 because I'm 100% sure people will pay for it.
Oh, well, if you sold like micro-targeted white people who are vegans, if you climb to the top of Machu Picchu and get a spiritual journey where we hand you this herbal essence that only grown up here. You just hand them some lettuce, and then that it's only $18,000, and you'll become one with the spirits.
The spirits of the
you can make a fortune. That's $1 billion idea.
Is that what you're saying, Miguel? I'm like, yeah, something like that, Sheila. Just give me your money.
Tell them they're doing Incan yoga, even though that's not
Incan
a thing.
Yoga.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
They'll
something
be like,
this is what the Incans used to do before. They used to cut off the Aztecs' heads.
You can charge so much money, but yeah. So there's this host in game show host in Peru that we don't know about.
Yeah,
and what's
it'd be like us talking about Ryan Seacrest.
Well, the one thing is like she has this thing where she like introduces somebody. She's like. She like welcomes the person, like kind of like Jerry Springer when he's like, "All right, let's bring him out."
Yeah.
But instead of saying "let's bring him out," she'd be like, "Let's bring this motherfucker out." So, but she said it in such a tone that it's hilarious. So that's like part of the joke. It's like I was watching it, and she's like, "¿Qué pasa el desgraciado?" And everybody's like, and people get it because it's hilarious because it's like a staple in Latin American culture.
Right.
That shows.
It's a cultural
you
thing.
get it. And the more like when you imitate it, it's funny. But like I said, it works in Spanish when you try to present it to the English crowd. It doesn't. Well,
no,
because
they don't have that frame.
They don't understand it. Yeah, exactly. They don't have the
culture,
frame.
so like it wouldn't apply at all.
I was gonna say though, like just culturally, like what you're saying, like did you have a lot of Spanish comedian influences that have helped inform like your comedic stylings?
Not really. I will say, I came here in 2001, and one of my favorite shows to watch, one of my favorite networks to watch was Comedy Central. So it was like Comedy Central, Nickelodeon, and TNT. Yeah, TNT as whatever channel Raw was on.
Yeah, that was TNT.
I used to watch in UPN. So I used to watch SmackDown, Raw, like whatever Nickelodeon cartoons, and then I would watch Comedy Central because I just thought that they were funny.
Yeah.
So I would say my biggest influence in comedy would probably be like Greg Giraldo, Patrice, and Robert Kelly.
Yeah.
Not so much like Spanish comics. I don't find them, even though they were this kind of like the same kind of prototype of comic. I don't know. Like it's different. I don't really.
Yeah, no,
It's a
yeah,
identify with them.
preference.
That's cool. Like you don't need like I kind of hate when people like put you into the bubble. Even though I asked the question, I was just it was a good question. I'm okay.
He's like, it's
but
a
like
good
no, like
question.
I think
It's a
like
good
what you
question.
think is funny is funny. You know, like and so I always find it interesting. Like I know maybe like there were some some people from that speak a different language that do stand up. They're like, oh, I followed them and like kind of got me into it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, my grandmother used to like this guy. His name is Jorge Falcon, and he used to make like faces, and like that was his thing. And like, but they would tell like street jokes almost. They would write them up. They would make them their own, but like that was like their thing. They were street jokes, so they were a different type. Like in Mexico, actually, this is funny because in Mexico, you're not a comedian. You're a stand-upero. You do stand-up. Comedian tells jokes. Stand-ups.
What is pero?
Doesn't pero mean
stand-up
dog?
pero. No, stand-up pero.
Pero. Okay.
So it's like stand-upero. So you
That's
do stand-up.
the title.
Yeah, you do,
Okay,
you do
I
stand up.
see.
Yeah.
So,
I see.
Stand-uperos talk
Us
about
learning.
their life. Yeah,
We're learning, Sean.
We're learning.
Is this
We're all learning.
Rosetta Stone for comedians?
This is Rosetta Stone. Yeah,
Yeah.
there is. Stand up pero.
All right, next word. Hack.
I've been
I would
called
love
that. I've
to-
been called that in every language.
Yeah. But yeah, so stand-uperos, and they told me this. They told me the difference is like stand-uperos tell stories about their life and tell jokes about themselves, not so much just jokes like comedians do. So
Right,
yeah, it's,
right. So
yeah.
that's like kind of like a big staple of that. And is that like the dominant type of
Stand-up, yeah.
performer? Just like a
Stand-up.
performer who like kind of like tells like it's like a story based comedian about their life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very, and
it's
that's,
just stand-up, you know.
Yeah.
But they call them stand-uperos instead of saying
yeah,
stand-up comedy is like the proper word, I guess,
right.
or the proper words for it. Stand-up
Yeah.
comedian.
Stand up comedian, comic, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So going back to the shows at Los Feliz, so you've done 3 of them so far.
Yes.
How much of an audience do you get at those shows?
How much what?
How much of an audience do you get at that
Like
show?
how big of an
How
They
audience?
pack the house.
Really?
It's really nice. Like again, it's very supportive, and everybody that shows up, it's like you always have a good set, no matter who you are. It's so nice
because everyone's just willing to.
because everybody's like, this
Yeah.
is new. We don't know what's happening here.
Yeah, I
But
mean, it
it's
must be an
weird. They were-
exciting
it
event.
is exciting,
for everyone.
exactly,
So
because it's
exciting
new.
to.
It's
Yeah.
new. So you're out there, and you have this like goofy stories. Like it could be like really corny, but as long as they'll hear him, they'll get it, and they'll laugh.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like too easy sometimes. But
I've like seen that before, or I've done
But
that
it's
before,
nice.
where I'm just like, those are always a show where I'm like, I gotta like pull out some like risky shit. I want to see what you guys are willing to follow me along with.
well, that's the difference.
Yeah.
See, that's the difference because like I don't really do any like what I call my god ethnic jokes or like
right.
like I don't really have that many like, oh, look at me, I'm a Latino guy living in the world. I'm like my kind of jokes is like, guys, my mom is dead and here's an abortion joke and let's see how it goes. In Spanish it doesn't go that well, by the way. It doesn't go.
No, I don't think it would.
What
I have
is what's Spanish for abortion?
Aborción.
Abortion?
Aborción.
Aborción. So
Okay.
it's with a C. I
Yeah.
imagine. If I
So
remember.
somebody call
Yeah.
this podcast
Aborción.
an aborción.
So we got there we go. We got 2 words: stand up pero and aborción.
Aborción.
These are the important ones for us to know.
Those are gonna
Yes,
be the hashtags.
I do stand. Yes, I'm a stand-upero, and yes, you will need an aborción.
So it's, so by how many can you fit in there? Like, what's like? Is it a small room or a big room? Like, how many can you
I
fit
would
in there?
say the basement room. I've done it there in the big room and the little room. The little room you can fit. It's kind of like a lounge. You can fit probably about maybe 15, 20 people packed. And the other one you can definitely fit about 30.
Oh, that's great, man.
But it's really nice, dude. It's a really nice room, and there's really you can't do wrong in there, unless you really
Unless you really
do wrong
suck.
with it, Yeah.
And are there like certain types of jokes that like that audience responds to more warmly than others? Like, what are like
Mostly,
very prime topics that are?
the topic that I've seen the most has been touched on is like crowd work. Like, where are you from?
Oh, okay. So it's
You're from Argentina? You talk like this. Where
Ah,
you
I
from?
see. Yeah.
Oh, you guys do this. Where you? Oh, South America. Oh, yeah, Brazil. Oh, Brazil. It's just like like that. That's like the main thing.
Okay.
That I've seen.
It's a lot of audience
a
interaction.
lot of roasting of cultures.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, very.
That's what I've seen.
Laying into people. Okay. I like
cool.
that. I do find that. I find a lot of, at least when like I've been done like for like what's the word I'm looking for here? Like crowds that come, foreigners. And that's the word, like when like people come like do shows in here. If I've had a crowd in the city, they like to be talked to more than like just hearing something. In my experience.
You guys want some of this?
Yeah. I mean, I have to drive in a little bit, but that's fine.
Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, Miguel was nice enough
to give us some Johnny Walker. Actually, wait, they don't sponsor the podcast, so they're not getting a free.
They're gonna send you
plug.
a bill. It's like, you
were not allowed to say that on your pod. So I'll take a quick little swig.
Yeah, so this is going to be the second time we've drunk on the podcast, which honestly we should do more often.
You guys can finish that one. I got this one too. So
we should always be drunk on the podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you. I do need to probably drive back later, so I'm just going to nurse it.
Yeah. Sean's a fine driver.
I'm a good drunk driver.
No, that's good. Listen, I grew up on the South Shore in Massachusetts, Whitman, Massachusetts.
Oh, you're never sober in there.
Dude, listen, unless you have a car, you're just going to stay in your house and be bored because there's nothing else you can do.
Yeah.
So you have to learn how to drink and drive. Like, it's just mandatory.
You do.
You either learn that or you just... Again, you're either going to get a DUI or
you
stay home bored.
You don't drive drunk. You drive buzzed. There's a big difference.
I call it the Harvard of drinking and driving.
They're the elite posh people of drinking and driving, as they would say. So how many people comics are active in that scene in Los Feliz and at the V Spot?
I would say roughly about 30.
Okay, that's a
good.
sizable number.
I was going to say, is it like a tight-knit group, too?
But,
you guys...
Well, it is, because we're all, believe it or not, we're all really close. We're all really friendly with each other. There's, like, no beefs. It's, like, the perfect world.
That's fucking awesome.
There is no,
awesome.
We have a clique, and there's another clique. It's like, we're all a clique.
God, we need more of that
it is
in
really
the comedy
nice.
world.
It is really nice. Like, imagine just being part of one clique, and, like, that's the only one that exists.
That is the dream. Like,
it's nice.
Instead of being part of 7 different cliques at the same time, and then somebody beefs in the other one, and then you're like, well, I guess I have to hate these people now.
Well, I mean, I feel like you all have to because, I mean, not the best of word, but like you guys are literally the minority of the comedy community in terms of like the creative output you're putting on. So like it's good that you all have each other backs rather than just being divided and being like,
And I have to say, Chano Garcia right now is the one that is doing all that stuff because he's actually starting out new classes for stand-up in Spanish.
Really?
And we had a couple people that started doing it, and they're actually getting better. Like the class is really good, that it helps them.
Mm-hmm.
And people that are just never did stand-up comedy in their life are doing shows now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So it's crazy. Like how fast it can be taught.
It just takes off. Everybody supports each other that way.
And it's amazing, dude. So he's pretty much building the new generations.
Yeah, next generation of Spanish comics
in
New York.
It's only 1 year. This is the first year that they've been doing it, and I believe it's going into the second year. So it's really nice to be part of something that is just starting.
Yeah.
It's kind of like being in like a startup company.
Right.
It's
always exciting to be
getting in something on the ground floor is awesome. Because like you can see you can help it grow, you can watch it grow, and like you can have your own input, and you can put your own stamp on it too. Like because it's a problem. So many places in New York, they're so well established at this point. Like trying to get into the cellar is hard. Like trying to get past there, you have a lot of steps to get there. But if a new like Eastville and the Stand just reopened, but Eastville just opened last year. Like that's a new place to try and establish yourself in terms of clubs in New York.
Yeah, where do you hope the Spanish scene is in like a year or 3 years or 5 years?
Let's just say 5 years.
Yeah, 5 year plan.
5 years. I think murderers. All of them.
Murderers.
And I don't mean like actual murders. I mean like
so.
Microphone.
I actually
records.
It'd be funny. Like, I hope we all go on a killing spree.
I hope we do.
We're gonna set up a fucking plan like Fight Club style. We kill everybody. No, I think everybody that is working right now, they have like the potential to be huge, like huge stars, and they're all really funny in Spanish and English, and the fact that they're doing it right now and they're really good at it, I think in 5 years they'll be incredible at it. So I think that the Spanish scene is definitely going to grow, and it can be as big as the one in LA or Mexico.
Okay, so you think there'll be like more rooms opening up that'll do Spanish
yeah,
shows?
Absolutely,
that would be
just
awesome.
watching it grow. You were talking earlier. Like you said, you did a little pro wrestling.
I did.
Yeah, so you want to tell our audience about that? Because I don't think Peter's a fan, but I'm a pro wrestling fan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're talking about the Bullet Club and stuff. One of the guys you wrestled was in that.
Yeah, Chase Owens.
Chase Owens. Oh my God.
Chase Owens. Yeah.
Now, do you still do that at all, or is that just
no, not anymore. I quit a while back.
Yeah, just had to retire.
I hurt my knee twice.
I would do it. But did you find like you had a lot of chance to work on your comedic abilities with doing that too? A little improving or?
My biggest accomplishment in wrestling was when I was in Tennessee and I had my friend who was from Tennessee. And whenever I said something on the microphone, I would have him translate it to the rednecks.
Yeah, that's great.
That was like my thing.
I assume you
and
were
it got
a heel?
a lot of heat. A lot of people hated me.
That's great.
Bobby Eaton introduced me to a girl once.
Mm-hmm.
That was like a career highlight for me.
What was your name?
Man, I'd rather not say.
No, you can't say it. You can't look it up.
It's awful. I mean, no, you can look it up. It's just like it's so embarrassing now that I think about it.
Come on.
Back then, I was like, "This name's a shit. This name is definitely like WWE status." But now when I think about it, I'm like, "Oh my God, ugh, I'm an idiot."
Yeah, not the right
It
choice.
was fuck it. I like you guys.
We'll get you drunk until you tell us eventually.
It was Marco Corona.
Marco Corona.
Yeah,
I like it.
And,
I like that.
the only person that knows that right now is you guys, your listeners, and
Which there are a few.
Marco
So you're
Belli.
okay.
All these
Marco Belli.
Russians.
Do you have a mask like Marco Belli?
I did not. I
Okay,
tried to put on a mask, and they're like, no.
Now, what was?
Because I was younger, I was slimmer, I was a little more ripped, and I was good looking. Now I'm like,
Now it's like,
overweight. Yeah, now it's like
that's gotta be a full body mask.
yeah, now it's gonna be a fucking
So I feel
bodysuit.
like I've always wanted to get into pro wrestling, but only as a manager. Where I've always wanted to like represent like a really tiny like flipper, not flipper, high flyer.
Yeah.
And just but like the first time we introduce, everyone would think I'm the wrestler and he's the manager. Then we flip it as we're about to get to the stage. Like, no, you go get him. I always thought that would be a great pitch of like me just being the talker and like because I'm a big fucking dude, and then having a little guy just be a high flyer and beat the shit out of some dude.
Yeah, that could work, man.
Yeah, just do a little.
So getting back on topic.
Wrestling is a form of comedy.
It was
That
it
is-
was
that
really
was-
fun.
I'm trying
That is
to
true.
expand our horizons, Peter.
I was actually
No, it
zoning
was,
out for that 2 minutes. Like,
yeah,
talking
It was
to our
very
next guest.
it parallels to comedy a lot.
Yeah.
Because
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was a legit question.
Sorry, I was literally messaging our other guest who's going to be like waiting for us
Wow.
at the Lancer.
Your
Peter's
guest is on right here.
Yeah, no,
and
well,
you're
this is
talking
why-
about the future guest.
This is why we're.
Disrespect.
Yeah, this is.
I'm just
better.
kidding.
I think it's time to put him in a
It's more
chokehold.
disrespecting Sean than than you.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
like, I don't give a shit about
Peter and
what
I
he-
really don't like each other.
No, we're fine. We're fine for each other.
We're
Sean,
fine.
Have you guys
it's
watched?
been-
Have you seen the movie Marriage Story yet?
No, yet.
Yeah, well, that's Peter and I right now.
Before
Okay, I'm gonna
before
watch
we
it.
recorded, Miguel asked like, "How long have you done the podcast for?" And I said like, "Oh, we've been doing 30 episodes." And the way I delivered it sounded like how someone would describe how long they've been with a partner for.
Yeah, my next question was like, so do you guys say the L word yet, or?
Love.
Like it felt like after I said like, "Oh, we've been doing 30 episodes," I should have like held Sean's hand.
Yeah. No, we.
Yeah, but sorry for that.
Technically, I've been doing 30 episodes. Peter's only done 29.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I was absent for a while, so they brought out a guest co-host, and that episode was
Oh, okay.
not great.
It was fine.
Whoa.
No,
I'm just kidding. I
that's-
haven't heard it yet,
I was pretty
Yeah.
hungover for that one, and we just did it because we had to do an episode.
They
that
just
week.
wanted to fill it.
Oh,
It was
that's
called-
good.
It was actually called. It was
Consistency.
actually called the roast of Peter Clark Deutsch. They roasted me in the beginning of the episode. And it was funny because like some of my friends from high school, like they decided to like finally listen to my podcast, and like the first episode they listened to was that episode for whatever reason, because they're like, oh, we want to listen to these guys roast them, and then like they heard like them say like, Peter looks, something along the lines of like, Peter looks like a date rapist. And they were like, because the thing is, like, as comedians, like, we get the ball busting, we get like the whole dynamic
They
of
should
it.
have said a woke date rapist.
My friends who were outside of that whole dynamic were just like, oh my God, why would they say that? It's so weird.
There's the things you can say amongst comics and things you can say amongst regular people.
Yeah.
And they just don't mix sometimes.
I made that mistake once. I went to a party in Cambridge with my girlfriend, and I saw this guy who had like perfect hair, perfect look. Her sweater was like it was just perfect. He was just a perfect person. And I don't remember how it started, but I do remember mentioning to him that he looked like he chokes kittens in his basement. And he's like, well, no, it's just, no, and everybody's just like, whoa, dude, like, you don't even, I'm like, I was scared, and I was scared.
Yeah, it's good looking. No.
It's good looking. That's all I'm saying. Like, that's my way of saying, hey, man, you look great.
Right. Non-comedians are not used to like the fucked up things.
Yeah, the horrible shit we say to each other that it's we find
but like
funny.
that's what I like so much about comedians is because like comedians, like there's like certain social boundaries that people are willing to let go when you're around comedians. It's true, but I like because like it's not in a bad way. It's just like people are like more genuine, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like if you're like meeting someone for the first time, there's usually social boundaries you put up, and like
you can't just go like right into into stuff.
But like when you when you go to a mic, when you go to a show, like you know what to expect.
Oh
and,
my
like,
God, yeah.
It's so great because people are more themselves.
That's I always say that's the best thing about comedy, the circle afterwards.
Yeah, no.
When you go outside and you just sit down, well, you don't sit down, you stand around in a circle and just kind of like shoot the shit.
There's
with
a
other
reason
comics.
why everyone has a fucking smoking addiction in comedy because people go outside and smoke and talk.
Yeah.
And like I don't smoke regularly, but like if there's like a comic I want to talk to, I'm like, all right, time to go ruin my lungs.
Yeah, I'll smoke. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? If you tell me David Tell's outside smoking cigarettes, you're not gonna go outside
so
and
much of
smoke?
Well, so much of comedy is the camaraderie of it, just like grinding it out. It's like it's the best. It's some of the best parts of it too. Like especially if you kill on a show and your friends all kill like that. It just feels good.
Or just doing a show with your friends. I always I did comedy in Boston for about 7 years, and then I moved here, and I had so many friends, like really good comics. Like I know everybody's like, dude, my friend's like super funny. He's one of the great. Like, no, my friends were like really, really funny. And whenever we went on shows, like we had shows together, it was like, oh my God, this is so exciting because it was like, I don't even have to do my set.
Hell yeah.
I just have to shoot the shit with my friends, then go on stage, shoot the shit with the crowd, and then I'm getting paid.
Hell
This
yeah.
is amazing.
Yeah,
I'm getting paid to hang out with my friends, get fucking drunk for free, and do whatever, and then drive home.
Green room memories are the best. Like green room banter is the best. That's like my fondest memories from doing comedy at school with my stand-up club is like being backstage of a show and then like finally getting off stage and then starting to drink, or like drinking before and after. I always drink after, but it's like getting off stage after and being like, all right, time to drink with you guys.
Yeah, no, I never go on stage with any drinks in me, but afterwards I will get hammered.
Hammered.
I always get. I mean, I don't get toasted, but like I'll get like a nice buzz going, and then I'm like, all right, I'm good. Not always either, like. But most of the times.
Reminds me of a saying from college: "Win, lose, we booze." Like,
yeah.
Like if I killed, I want to have a drink in celebration, and if I bombed, I want to have a drink to remind myself of what the failure I am.
Do you ever do any other drugs? Like you ever do blow and then go on stage?
No. I'll smoke some pot. I haven't done. Mom, turn off the podcast.
Oh, sorry.
Mom, hit the pause button. Even though you literally talked about drinking and driving before.
Yeah, but they know that's.
Mom, go check the whatever.
No,
go check the kitchen.
I haven't done coke in like 5 years.
Yeah.
I liked it too much, or it's like and I'm a big guy, and my family has a whole history of just heart attacks. So I'm like,
oh yeah, don't fuck.
I
I'm
wouldn't
not
do it
too worried
either,
with it, but like I do recommend cocaine to anybody listening. That's not my mom.
I wouldn't recommend doing it before a show or before you're out there hosting. That's like the worst.
All drugs and alcohol should be done after your show. I firmly believe that. Maybe a beer or something beforehand, or like or a little bit of pot, but don't. Right. Or go out and do Molly. I've never seen me do a show on Molly.
One time I did a show in a living room and everybody was smoking weed, and I was like, well, they're smoking weed, why can't I do coke? So I had somebody prepare a line for me on a mirror, and then when I hit a punchline, people laugh, and he knew to come out. That was like his cue. So he came out, and I just put a straw in my nose, and I was went, and everyone's like, "What the fuck?" I'm like, "Oh my!" I just fucking killed a child or something. I'm like, "I'm just doing blow. You guys are smoking weed. What's the big deal here?"
God, you pussies! God, I thought this was a cool party, man. Now you can put this gun away, huh?
Yeah. I was like, "Oh, wait, my next gun was gonna be I was gonna shoot a gun, but you guys fucking."
That is
like
probably like the hardest thing I've ever heard someone do on stage.
Oh,
like
really?
just snort a line.
It was like a living room show.
Yeah,
So it wasn't
think-
like a lot
I'd
riding
be
on
more
the line.
nervous
You know,
to
like,
just like miss and like shit, it
or
gets all
just
over the
fucking
carpet.
sneeze.
Yeah, classic.
Oh, it's on me.
But I thought it was really cool because everybody's still laughing, and then
Yeah.
this guy comes out with a mirror, and I just go, and it was like, whoa, we were just laughing a minute ago, and now we're fucking going insane because like you just did blow in front of all of us. I'm like,
You
sorry,
didn't even
I don't
offer
know
to
what
share,
tell
you dick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, somebody did say that to me. They're like, "Do you still have any more left?" I'm like, "No, it was just I was gonna say, oh, it's just a bet, but it really wasn't." I was like, "No, I don't. It was just that line."
Yeah.
Sounded like you didn't read the room very well.
No,
you
I
did not read the room
No,
well. at
I was
all.
not prepared for that one.
But Miguel, we got to wrap up.
Yeah,
because
we're wrapping up
Our
here.
guest is going to wonder where the fuck we
We are.
Our next guest
Yeah.
is going to wonder where the fuck we are. But last thing I want to ask you is, who in the Spanish scene do you
Should other
think
people
is-
come and check
yeah.
out and like
Yeah,
look
who's
for?
like- who's like-
Stewie'ville, he's really funny. Laura Bolivar is really, really funny. I forgot this guy's name. Timo something. But he does puns and he's really funny too. I mean, literally, I could go on names because I believe they're all really, really funny. Very, very talented. And I honestly, in 5 years, I think they're all gonna be big in the Spanish comedy scene and also English. So
Awesome.
That's
yeah.
awesome, man. Yeah, thank you.
I'll keep an eye on all of them. Anybody in the Spanish scene,
we'd
really.
actually really love to interview more
Yeah.
comics from this scene because I do
Yeah.
find it very interesting, and I think it's very good for people to do comedy in a language they're comfortable with, in a language where they can really
like I said, it's
speak from the
different.
heart.
It's
Yeah,
different because you're more you can riff more. You have more liberties with what you say, and people and you don't have to worry so much about people understanding you. So
yeah.
or pronouncing words because everybody here is so anal about that. We're like, but
I
you
don't-
said this.
Well,
I'm
I like it
you know
though
what I
because it
said.
just forces you to really examine your material too. If you're literally deliberately picking words for whatever language you're doing in it, I think that's very, very helpful.
Yeah.
So on that note, I think we should wrap up this
Yeah.
episode.
Yes, thank you for tuning in to Two Mike Minimum's first ever drinking car cast.
Drinking car cast. Car was not on, cops. You can't arrest me.
That is true.
That is a fact.
Yep.
And thank you guys for having me. I
No,
really
thank
appreciate
you. Thank
guys
you, man. This was a
accommodating.
ton of fun.
Yeah,
whole
thank you
thing.
for hopping in the back of our car.
Again, I
For
wasn't
no
gonna go in the
reason.
I wasn't gonna go in the passenger seat for sure.
Yeah, no. We'll keep
I've
you.
seen Goodfellas.
So-
I know how this ends.
Yeah.
So yeah, our guests put a lot of trust in us.
They
Too
really do.
much trust
Thankfully,
in us.
we're two very friendly-looking white boys.
Yeah, you guys are
Well, one
woke,
of us
so I
is,
had
yeah,
nothing to worry about.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
All
you're
right.
a wolf in sheep's clothing. Everybody knows that.
yeah, exactly.
And I'm a sheep. I'm a sheep.
demon
And
inside.
I'm a sheep in wolf's clothing.
right.
Actually,
And I'm just a disappointment to my parents. But
Miguel, where can people find you?
you can go on Instagram, type in 90 Day Fiance. I won my podcast, and look us up. Give us a follow. And Joke Junkies podcast, I believe, is our other Instagram handle. And that's the show I do with my friends. But so just Instagram,
Perfect.
Facebook.
Cool.
That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for
Thank you,
listening.
guys.
Yeah, thank
Guys.
you, Miguel, and thank you, everyone, for listening to
another episode of Two Mike Minimum.
This is our symbol.
Did you guys
Every
just
time we-
read
yeah.
it? That's
Yes,
fucking
we
awesome.
did.
I love it.
All right. Bye,
All
everybody.
right, take care.